The latest chaos unraveling in The Young and the Restless has pushed Kane Ashby back into the spotlight, and not in a quiet or subtle way. Once dismissed as a supporting player in Genoa City's corporate wars, Kane has suddenly become the most unpredictable, dangerous, and fascinating man on the canvas. His return has reignited old grudges, exposed buried family secrets, and reminded everyone that behind his polished charm lies a man built on deception, vengeance, and a burning hunger to uncover the truth about his own bloodline. What began as whispers of redemption have now erupted into a full-blown storm of betrayal, murder, and revenge, with Kane at the center of it all. For decades, Kane has lived a life defined by confusion and manipulation. He was raised under false identities, played roles that never truly belonged to him, and spent years trying to prove himself in a city that never stopped questioning who he really was. Even now, despite his successes, he remains haunted by the one question that has shaped his entire existence: who are my real parents? His search for identity has consumed him, turning what was once insecurity into obsession. It's this obsession that led him to commit the ultimate sin, killing Colin Atkinson, the man he once believed to be his father. That act wasn't just a crime of rage, it was an act of desperation. Colin had the answers Kane spent his life chasing, but he took them to his grave. Whatever secrets he held about Kane's true parentage died with him, leaving Kane more tormented than ever. Jill Abbott, however, knows far more than she's let on, and her sudden arrival in Nice proves she's no longer willing to keep quiet. She raised Kane from childhood, shaped him into the man he became, and has always known that his charm is both his armor and his weapon. But Jill's relationship with Kane has never been simple. She loves him as family, but she also fears him. Because she's seen the darkness that runs through him, the cold calculation behind his every move. Now, as she prepares to expose the truth about his past, Jill finds herself walking a dangerous line between justice and survival. She's the one person who truly knows what Kane is capable of, and she knows that if he feels cornered, he will strike without hesitation. The revelation that Kane once threatened to kill Jill shocks even those who've watched him spiral before. It's one thing to manipulate, to deceive, to fight for power, but to threaten the woman who raised him like a son? That's another level entirely. And yet, for Kane, it makes perfect sense. Every time Jill gets close to revealing the truth about his origins, he loses control. He can't stand the thought of her holding the key to his identity, because it means she has power over him, the one thing he's spent his life trying to escape. His violence toward Jill isn't born of hatred, it's born of fear. Fear that she knows something so devastating, so world-altering, that once it's spoken, he'll never be able to go back. Kane's past has always been murky, but what's emerging now hints at something far more sinister than anyone suspected. There are whispers that his true lineage connects him not just to the Atkinsons, but to one of Genoa City's most powerful families, a connection Jill has deliberately kept hidden to protect both him and others. Some believe that Colin's silence wasn't out of cruelty, but out of necessity, that the truth about Kane's parents could destroy more than reputations, it could rewrite the history of the Chancellor, Newman, and Abbott families altogether. Jill's reluctance to speak may not be guilt, but fear that revealing the truth will unleash something uncontrollable. Meanwhile, Kane's behavior since returning to Genoa City has made it impossible to separate his ambition from his madness. His charm still works its magic on the business elite, but behind every smooth smile is a man unraveling. He's made enemies out of allies, turned every conversation into a power play, and seems to delight in pushing people to their limits. His relationship with Jill has reached a breaking point, but he's also alienated Billy, Devon, and even Lily, the one woman who once believed she could redeem him. It's as though Kane is burning every bridge deliberately, convinced that the truth he seeks lies somewhere on the other side of destruction. Jill's confrontation with him in Nice will likely be explosive. The setting itself, a place of luxury, secrecy, and quiet menace, mirrors their dynamic perfectly. She's arrived with proof, or at least pieces of it, determined to end the web of deceit once and for all. But Kane, always one step ahead, won't go down easily. He knows Jill's weaknesses, her maternal instincts, her guilt, her pride, and he's not above using them. If he feels she's about to expose him, there's no telling how far he'll go. His earlier threat to kill her may not have been empty words, it may have been a warning of what's to come. What's most disturbing, though, is how self-aware Kane has become. He knows he's the villain in everyone's story, but he no longer cares. In his mind, morality is for people who have something to lose. He's already lost everything, his father, his marriage, his reputation, and what remains is a man liberated by his own darkness. To Kane, truth is worth any cost. If Jill's death, or anyone else's, is the price for answers, he's willing to pay it. That single-minded drive makes him both terrifying and captivating, a man whose pain has become his power. But underneath the danger lies tragedy. Kane's entire life has been a performance, a dance of survival, built on lies told to him and by him. Every decision, every manipulation, stems from the same wound, the need to belong. He's not evil in the traditional sense. He's broken. The more he tries to uncover who he is, the more he becomes the monster everyone accuses him of being. Killing Colin didn't bring him peace. Threatening Jill won't either. Because deep down, he's not looking for truth, he's looking for someone to tell him he's not the monster he's become. As the storyline unfolds, fans can expect Kane's arc to explode in classic Y&R fashion, full of shocking revelations, emotional confrontations, and dangerous twists that blur the line between love and vengeance. Jill's attempt to unmask him could either redeem or destroy them both. If she exposes his true parentage, it might answer every question Kane has ever had, but it might also unleash a scandal capable of tearing Genoa City apart. For now, one thing is certain, Kane Ashby is no longer the charming conman he once was. He's evolved into something darker, something unpredictable, a man driven not by greed or lust, but by a haunting emptiness that no truth can fill. Whether his return marks redemption or ruin remains to be seen, but one thing is clear, The Young and the Restless has found its most dangerous leading man again, and this time, he's not just fighting for power. He's fighting for his soul. The revelation that Jill Abbott is about to unleash on The Young and the Restless is not just another scandal. It's the kind of bombshell that will tear Genoa City apart and redefine everything fans thought they knew about its most powerful families. For decades, secrets have fueled this town's drama, but none have carried the explosive potential of this one. When Jill decides to go public with Kane Ashby's DNA results, she isn't just exposing another hidden parentage story, she's detonating the most shocking secret in Y&R history. Because as it turns out, Kane's biological parents aren't strangers at all, they're two of the most iconic figures in Genoa City, Diane Jenkins and Victor Newman. The revelation hits like an earthquake. Diane, the woman whose every move has been scrutinized since her resurrection, and Victor, the patriarch who has spent his life manipulating others from his corporate throne, are bound by a secret so dark, so deeply buried, that even their closest allies would never have suspected it. Kane Ashby, the man who's spent years searching for his true identity, turns out to be the living embodiment of their long-buried past. This isn't just a twist of fate, it's the unmasking of a conspiracy that stretches back decades, one built on deceit, denial, and fear of exposure. According to Jill, she's known the truth longer than anyone could imagine. Her knowledge comes from fragments of conversations, buried documents, and one drunken confession Colin Atkinson made years before his death. When Kane murdered Colin, he thought he was eliminating the last person who knew the truth about his origins, but he was wrong. Jill had already pieced it together. She knew that before Diane disappeared and before Victor's empire expanded into what it is today, the two shared a forbidden affair that resulted in a pregnancy. A child conceived out of power and secrecy, a child who would later become Kane. For years, Diane and Victor lived in fear that the truth would surface. Back then, their affair was more than scandalous, it was dangerous. Victor was married, Diane was entangled in schemes of her own, and both knew the fallout could destroy their reputations. When Diane learned she was pregnant, she confided in no one but Victor. Together, they made an unthinkable choice, to hide the pregnancy entirely. Diane vanished from Genoa City for months under the guise of business abroad, giving birth in secrecy. The child, a baby boy, was handed over to an associate who arranged for his adoption overseas. That baby grew up to be Kane Ashby, never knowing that his real parents were two of the most powerful and most manipulative figures in town. Jill stumbled upon fragments of this secret when Kane was still a child. She took him in under the pretense of guardianship, but she always knew there was more to his story than met the eye. Over time, she became both his protector and his keeper, shielding him from the truth while also shielding Diane and Victor from exposure. Yet as Kane grew more dangerous, more volatile, and more determined to uncover the truth about himself, Jill realized she could no longer control what she had helped conceal. His murder of Colin was the final straw. The blood on his hands wasn't just symbolic, it was the cost of decades of lies. The irony is staggering. Kane's obsession with finding his parents was always about power, belonging, and identity. He believed his roots would give him meaning, that knowing the truth would finally make him whole. Instead, the truth threatens to destroy him. To learn that the ruthless Victor Newman is his father, and that Diane, the woman who has spent her life clawing her way back into acceptance, is his mother, forces Kane to confront everything he's denied about himself. His ambition, his manipulative charm, his moral flexibility, it's all there, encoded in his DNA. The two people he has unknowingly modeled himself after are the same ones who abandoned him for the sake of their own convenience. For Victor, the exposure is catastrophic. The man who prides himself on control now faces a revelation that could obliterate the image he's spent decades cultivating. A secret son who has committed murder, manipulation, and fraud, his own flesh and blood, makes him look not like a patriarch, but a hypocrite. He has spent years condemning others for their lies while living one so monumental it defies comprehension. Diane, meanwhile, is on the verge of losing everything she's fought to rebuild. Her relationship with Jack Abbott, already fragile, won't survive this. Her credibility as a mother, her attempts to reclaim respectability, all collapse the moment Jill opens her mouth. Jill's decision to reveal the truth isn't purely altruistic. Part of her motivation stems from revenge. She feels betrayed, by Kane for his violence, by Victor for his arrogance, and by Diane for her deceit. Jill's role as Genoa City's ultimate truth-teller has always been complicated. She doesn't expose secrets to save souls but to watch them unravel. Yet this time, her motives carry a strange morality. She believes Kane deserves to know where he came from, even if that knowledge destroys him. And she believes the world deserves to see the cracks in the powerful Newman and Abbott facades. The fallout will be relentless. Jack Abbott, who once shared a torrid history with Diane, will be blindsided to learn that the woman he's allowed back into his life has kept a child secret from him, and that the father of that child is his greatest rival. The ripple effect could shatter alliances across Genoa City. The Newmans will turn on Victor, questioning what other lies he's told. The Abbotts will ostracize Diane once again, accusing her of bringing shame to the family name. Even Nikki, Victor's wife, will find herself reliving decades of betrayal and humiliation. As for Kane, this revelation could push him past the point of redemption. For a man who has built his life on lies, discovering that his entire existence was one makes him dangerous in ways no one can predict. He might embrace the Newman name, demanding his place in Victor's empire, or he might reject it entirely, vowing vengeance against the parents who denied him his birthright. Jill's decision to expose the truth sets the stage for a war unlike anything Genoa City has ever seen. This isn't just another family secret, it's a rewriting of the city's bloodlines. Diane and Victor, once bitter rivals, are now bound by their greatest mistake. Kane, the product of their deception, becomes the living embodiment of the chaos they've unleashed. And Jill, ever the provocateur, stands at the center, pulling the strings and watching the empire crumble. No matter how they try to spin it, there's no going back. The truth is out. Kane Ashby is the son of Diane Jenkins and Victor Newman. And in Genoa City, where every secret comes with a price, this one might cost them everything.